father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. It's only too bad Valiant beat him to Gutfeld.
As the insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
There he goes again. Honey Badger gonna do what Honey Badger gonna do. Scooping and scooping and scooping.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Son of a death, you don't leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Brother, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. Hi ho, and welcome to Provision 3D.
Alright everyone, put on your opera glasses. Oh boy,
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money.
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
Alright, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take our freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the show that explains entertainment and gives journalists the next day's headlines. It's the Pro Show Live!
Hey folks, Wednesday, April 3rd is the Disney shareholders meeting where we find out if Nelson Peltz has a seat on the board or if the proxy war continues on. Coverage begins at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Culture Casino. Moving right over to the Pro Channel, a special edition of the Pro Show, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern, and then we go to Valiant Renegade for live coverage, 1 p.m. Eastern until who knows when. It is the big day for Disney. Hello, folks. Welcome to the Pro Show Live Special Edition, episode 62, as we begin the 60-second experiment in pure excellence distilled across YouTube. We're so happy to have everybody out there as we get ready for a very big show. Over 400 of you joining us as we are just beginning. We want to send a big thank you out to Jonas J. Campbell, to L.W. Ghost. Both men handled the Pro Show pre-show with a certain degree of, well, shall we say it again? Redundant, I know, but excellency. Folks, we're here to talk about some big topics today and topics that you want, and they're on your way. We will be discussing American First Legal, saying in a very serious document that Disney is apparently mismanaged. Not only are they mismanaged, but they are saying that they have misled shareholders, that they are participating in unlawful discrimination, and we will get to all of that. Also, Godzilla versus Kong reviews are coming out. We will be sharing with you our thoughts on how that's going to affect the box office. And then finally, folks, we are also going to be doing something very special, which is we will talk briefly, or not so briefly, we'll see how it goes, about That Park Place facing potential legal challenges. It is all going to be very exciting today. And I suspect, folks, that we are gathered around with friends and perhaps others who are joining us as well. Who knows? But you know what? I'm feeling a little bit friendly today. I'm feeling in a very happy mood. And so how about this? Let's gift some memberships as we get started, folks. And maybe the rest of the chat will help me turn this place green. No grays out there. No Gandalf the Grays. Help everybody become green indeed. All right, folks, before we get to the super chats, and we will get to those super chats, we need to bring in someone of great importance. And so I suppose we should, well, do just that.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
Well, folks, please welcome to the Pro Show a friend of the channel. He has been on a number of times, has been on with Valiant Renegade. Mr. Ron Coleman, I would like to introduce you for the very first time as my attorney. Welcome aboard, sir.
My pleasure and my honor to be introduced in that capacity.
That's right, folks. Say hello to legal counsel and sit back and relax. Things are going to be okay. All right, Mr. Coleman, we've got to get to some super chats, and then we've got some topics to cover today. Needless to say, I will be following your lead when it comes to talking about That Park Place and the situation there. But it's going to be interesting as we get into it, folks. So let's get straight into the super chats we have. Here's what we got, folks. Starting off with Packing Protons for 5. 2 hours. I want to be entertained now. I hear lawsuits are popular these days to make it happen. And I bet Packing Protons has been waiting a while for the show. You are not going to be disappointed, I tell you that. Also, Scott Westbrook has gifted 5 WDW Pro memberships. That is exceedingly kind, and it earns just this.
God dang it, from the bottom of our hearts here on the WDW Pro channel, thank you.
God dang it, I agree. Thomas Mess, member for 5 months, says, let's rock. I agree wholeheartedly. And not only that, but let's take a look at some of these gifted memberships. We also have John Maynard coming in with an intense, powerful, beautiful, beautiful 20 folks pro memberships. That means that 20 of you are now members who were not before. You were astray, but nay, you have joined the flock. And let's say too that we'll have more member exclusive content coming out tomorrow, so hang tight, folks. Also, Dustin Sensenig has dropped 20 pro memberships as well. Count it, 40. And then little impoverished pro throwing in his cute 5 pro memberships for all of you out there. Folks, we want to thank you so much for gifting those memberships. John, we're to come back to your super chat you've sent. But before we do, let's have just a wee bit, well, of fun.
Perfect.
All right, more than 600 of you joining us right now. Let's keep going through these super chats. Here's what we've got from John Maynard, member for 6 months and appreciated for all of them. Thank you for this special edition. It allows me to listen in as my load is a bit later in the day for me to pay attention. Make sure, please, to smash that like button, everybody. Yes, let's smash that like button and send this thing through the heavens of YouTube. That's right, folks, because you all are indeed
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
You are the gigawatts indeed. And then, folks, this is going to be a fun one. Everybody pay attention to the way this French name is pronounced. Onadekid for $20. Onadekid says, you're going to need this. Your lawyer is expensive. Ron, comments on that one?
Sounds right to me.
Maybe. All right, we've got Views with Hughes dropping by for 5, says, cannot wait for tomorrow. And yes, Views with Hughes, I will be recording with him tomorrow as we get ready to produce some agenda-free news over there with his content. Cannot wait. Well, folks, we've got a big panel that'll be joining us here in just a little bit. Spencer of Bounding into Comics is going to be stopping by. Also, Nolan Thunder, and that's just the beginning of the fun. Also, as we said in the Pro Show pre-show, Andrew Esquire of Legal Mindset may also join us. It depends on internet connections. Yes, Ron, that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
It would. You know what? I'm gonna log out and try to log in on a different browser because I'm freezing like crazy through streaming.
Did Valiant Renegade put that that glitch in your system when you joined? You know he's malware, right?
The man, everything about him screams malware.
Everything is malware. All right, we'll see you in just a moment, Ron. All right, while Ron is gone, folks, we are going to get to our very first story up on the docket today. It's an exciting one, and I promise we will come back to the remaining super chats, member chats, and if you drop in those gifted memberships, which we would appreciate as always, we will get to those shortly. But here's the story, folks. We're going to begin with That Park Place, the beleaguered website. That Park Place, no, not really. It's going to be A-OK. But That Park Place has a story that begins the journey because today we had major news coming out about Disney. And there's an organization which has been knocking at the door, right? Trying to crash the castle. And it is America First Legal. But it's not the first time that they have tangled with Two Shower Bob. So we got to go back in time. Here's the Wayback Machine as we venture into how things were going. Ron will rejoin us at this time. Here we go, folks. Legal analyst claims Disney is in deep trouble after America First Legal files EEOC complaint against or accusing company of discriminatory employment practices. This is by John Trent. And this was all the way back on February 16th. My, oh my, what a service that Park Place serves. And this is one of those cases. Legal analyst Andrew Esquire shared his expert opinion that he believes the Walt Disney Company is in deep trouble after the company was hit with an EEOC complaint by America First Legal. All right. America First Legal filed a complaint and requested a commissioner charge against the Walt Disney Company due to illegal employment practices of the Walt Disney Company and its subsidiaries in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Now, we only go to this article to say that this has been ongoing. This from February 16th. Before we go any further, Ron, when it comes to EEOC complaints from major organizations such as this, how serious is that for a corporation such as Disney?
It could be very serious. The EEOC has swerved back into the lane of credibility fairly recently after sort of having been locked up for a while in partisanship. And they could very well make Disney's life a living heck. But if they don't, I mean, that's not a big deal. It's not as if certainly it's great if you can get the government to do the work for you. But if America First has to do the work themselves, I think they'll know exactly what to do.
All right, well, let's get into what they are saying now, because it is extensive and it is damning for Disney. So getting right back to where we are today, folks, we were in the Wayback Machine with that Park Place going back to February when this first began. But today, March 27th, we are going straight to America First Legal, because we believe in blasting through the bias. So we'll go straight to the source. America First Legal sends letter to the board of directors of the Walt Disney Company alleging unlawful discrimination and misleading of shareholders. This breaking just yesterday. Unfortunately for America First Legal, or maybe fortunately, who knows, we had the acquiescing of Disney, the surrender of Disney to the state of Florida yesterday, which took all the headlines. And fair enough, it should have. We're talking about huge, vast sums of money that Disney will now be paying because they decided to weigh in on political issues in the Sunshine State. And when the light was shone upon Disney, things did not go well. But
you notice that they used the term sex quotas instead of gender quotas because they don't want to play into the concept of gender versus sex. But the idea of a sex quota, that's something I could sign on to, actually.
Sex quotas for all, Ron. Good job, America First Legal. You have set it in place. Sex quotas are here to stay. All right, folks. Here's the quota for us, not sexual, but legal. We're going to get some pure knowledge out of this, elucidating the what would we say here? Elucidating the superior knowledge of all after this experience. Here we go. Today, America First Legal sent a letter to the Walt Disney Company notifying the company's CEO, Two Shower Bob, the board of directors, and the management team of their alleged fiduciary duty breaches and federal securities law violations that have led to an approximate 40% drop in Disney's share value since February 2021. Now, Disney does not want you to think about that because Disney wants you to think everything is up, 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 up. They don't want you to remember that compared to where they were under Bob Chapek, it's not good. All right, let's get down into this eligibility criteria where it's talking about underrepresented groups. You're going to hear this quite a bit. Directors from traditionally underrepresented groups, including women, AAPI, Black, AA, Indigenous, Native, Hispanic, Latinx, Latin, I don't know. I speak Spanish. I don't even know what they're saying. MENA, SWANA, LGBTQIA+, disability identifying, religiously marginalized. Those are the groups which are being recognized as underrepresented when Disney refers to them. So let's take a look at this. All Disney General Entertainment productions are required to comply with Disney DEI inclusion standards. Some of the standards explicitly provide that 50% of the following jobs must be filled by members of underrepresented groups. Again, these are the groups which must be 50% or more of your production for anything to count towards Disney liking you and keeping you on board.
What's religiously marginalized? What does that even mean?
And what is the subjectivity involved in determining that, Ron? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, which religions get involved and which sects of religions? Does this get down to the dogmas of which you believe? I have no idea. Well, let's move on. Here we go, folks. Here's the actual document. Here's the America First legal document where we are going to, and as we get into this, I want to bring in someone who has significant Hollywood experience and might be able to give us some thoughts on how this impacts the entertainment industry, because I think this goes beyond Disney. Folks, please welcome to the show again, your favorite L.W. Ghost. Welcome back, sir.
Well, you were talking about sexual quotas, and suddenly you said, "Come on in the show."
We
and
mentioned sexual quotas, and the ghost arrives. I see how
I
this
just
is.
mentioned to Ron in the chat, I said, when you talk about what's a marginalized religion lately, it's ours. So
Yeah, that sure as heck isn't what Disney was worrying about.
Well, I saw that list and I thought,
You're still not on the
Swana.
list.
I was thinking Al Jolson, Swana, how I love you, my dear old Swana. For all those categories, I don't know. Alphabet soup.
Let's get into this. What the actual paper says, the letter that was sent to Disney. It starts off with, and folks, we've covered this briefly on the show this morning. There's no way we can read the whole thing. It's a tremendously large document, but we're going to do our best to summarize. It begins with, Dear Mr. Iger and Mr. Parker, America First Legal Foundation is a national nonprofit organization working to protect the rule of law, due process, and equal protection for all Americans. We write to you in your capacity as Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company and Chairman of the Board of Directors, respectively, on behalf of the Walt Disney Company, shareholders, and customers to notify you of mismanagement, including but not limited to intentional violations of federal civil rights laws, breaches of fiduciary duty, and the wasting of company assets. It goes on to specifically criticize DEI programs. Let's get into the points that it makes. First of all, it says the board must ensure federal civil rights law compliance, which it says that is not happening. It says the board must maximize shareholder value, which clearly they allege is not happening. It says that Disney is engaged in intentional and systemic violations of civil rights laws. And in this portion, it mentions again the Disney race and sex quotas for board seats and bonuses. The bonuses here is a big, big deal for this. Ron, why does the bonus aspect of this perhaps rise to a different level when we're talking about race and sex quotas and monetary advancement?
The way you asked that question made it sound to me as if there's a specific answer you're expecting.
No. Feel free to go. I'm just. Is there a categorical difference when we begin to talk about people making more money based on sex and race?
Well, bonuses are discretionary. So that makes, I would, that's going to be a sort of slush fund for avoiding the kind of statistically rigorous analysis that you could do based on salary. The bonuses are, as I said, they're discretionary, and there's the quantity of bonuses awarded in a given range are going to be fewer. So it'll be harder to prove at least a prima facie case of discrimination based on bonuses. That, when I say prima facie, I mean that doesn't mean that I can't get up and say, here are what all the POC bonuses were, and here are what all the people of power bonuses were, and funny what a correlation there is between them. You can still say that. That would be my guess, that's where the action is.
And real quick, we've got some requests. People are wanting the link to this document so that they can also view it. I have just put that in the live chat, folks. So if you are looking for that, and if you're watching this video after it's released at the 23-minute and 45-second mark, that's where you're going to look at the live chat for the link to this document. Want to make sure everybody has a chance to see it.
Can I suggest when you go there to their website, which is, I guess, where this is, go look at the other cases they take. With all due respect and admiration for Elon Musk for taking on Gina Carano and for saying he'll help people who've been marginalized, these people are doing those kind of cases every single day. It ain't just about Disney with them. It's about all kinds of little people being taken advantage of for the wrong reasons. And if you go look at the length and extent of the cases they've taken, it's very, very impressive.
Yes, and I am getting word that there is actually, this happens so many times. Folks, we don't do it on purpose, I promise. Apparently there is breaking news regarding Disney. We will get to that, and actually it's right in Ron's wheelhouse. We'll get to that momentarily. Let me finish this particular topic, and then we will go there. So in specificity as to what they're saying here about race and sex quotas, it says Disney appears to consider prohibited characteristics like race and sex in its selection process for its board of directors. In 2020, Disney admitted that one criteria which the board evaluates new members is the extent to which the prospective nominee helps the board reflect the diversity of the company's shareholders, employees, customers and guests, and the communities in which it operates. This method of evaluation has achieved the expected results. In 2020, only 3 of the directors were racially or ethnically diverse. In 2023, 6 out of the 12 hit that 50% quota for Disney. Just right on the money. How about that? It's almost as if it's synthetically achieved. Disney maintains illegal diversity, equity, inclusion quotas. We've talked about this in the past. We've talked about Reimagine Tomorrow. Lou, I want to go to you on this one because there's a particular caveat to this, and that is that in entertainment, it seems to me that you are allowed to cast based on race and sex and all of that, clearly. Where does the trouble lie in trying to achieve something across the entire company versus just one single production?
Well, obviously, it's what do they call it at Disney? Face characters. If you say, well, we're hiring somebody who looks like a French general with a funny hat and an itch in his tummy, you're not going to hire Idris Elba to play Napoleon, or maybe you are nowadays. But it's a question of in front of the lens versus behind, mostly, or should be, or was.
And maybe it's not like Cleopatra, right?
Exactly. They made a black Cleopatra, and Cleopatra was Greek. But anyway, it's all Greek to me. I don't know.
All Greek to us as we.
And as I know, Ron will mention, if I don't beat him to it, because it's always a pleasure. California law and all this is even stricter and even stranger than federal and normal state laws, as we learned in the Gina Carano case. Because they've gone out of their way to try and protect against discrimination, really going back to the blacklist days, I guess it was. And, it's coming back to bite them here.
Moving right along, folks.
100%.
Go ahead. All right, moving right along, we've got Disney engages in illegal racial balancing. Again, these are allegations made by America First Legal, not by this channel. We're simply reporting on the news. It says Disney admits engaged in unlawful race and sex-based workforce balancing, and then it goes on to substantiate those claims to the best of its ability. It says it has unlawful contracting practices. It says the board has breached its fiduciary duties and committed waste. We won't go into that. It talks about the political or the politicalization of the Walt Disney Company, and it says that of particular interest here, it says management acknowledged that consumers, and this was a big one, by the way.
Yeah.
Lou, were you the one who discovered this and gave it to us?
Yes. And when they decided to tell everybody, hey, the fact that we're woke and we're doing all this stuff that most people don't like, it is a risk as far as making money is concerned, because the audience might not agree with us. Surprise.
So I want to pause. I want to give this more diligence than we would have. And I want to pause here because that Park Place and the WDW Pro Channel and Valiant Renegade broke this. And the only reason we broke this story was because of Lou. Lou went into the original SEC filings, which are tedious and convoluted and not easily read. And Lou took the time to go through those when nobody else was looking in these things and pulled this out. And now here it is in this document. And I suspect that the chances of it ever having materialized here are only because someone like Lou put it into the news.
I will say it was hiding in plain sight. And, it was either that or the latest Robert Ludlum thriller. And these are more fun for some of us. What can I say? I was going to say Nancy Drew mystery, but I don't read those and never have. But the thing is, it's one thing to do all this stuff and say, hey, listen, just between us. It's another thing to proudly proclaim we are gloriful, wonderful people because we're being discriminatory. Ha, 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 ain't we swell? Which is what Disney does in all these documents. It's all in black and white. And by the way, what I think is really kind of wonderfully unique about this entire thing from them is how they tie the racial, sexual, discriminatory stuff to the money. The fact that it's not just bad, it's not just illegal, but it's hurting stockholders and costing the company income. And of course, that all dovetails right into the whole Peltz thing.
Yes. So here's what was brought out by Lou so many months ago. Disney cautions its forward-looking statements by suggesting that the political environment is outside the company's control. This came, by the way, from an SEC filing. And again, that SEC filing is what Lou went through and found this. And it's not as if this was the headline It says, in its most recent Form 10-K, management acknowledged that consumers' perceptions of our position on matters of public interest, including our efforts to achieve certain of our environmental and social goals, which, by the way, I know corporations are into this, but your goal at Disney, if it's an environmental goal, is to take care of your parks, and your social goal is to make sure everybody has a good time and families like you, often differ wildly and present risks to our reputation and brands.
And by the way, the fact that they had to say reputation, not just, well, they might not like a certain movie, but they might dislike the entire company because of it. And the result is that theater owner that you knew, Pro, who said that people were calling his theater to ask, is this movie safe, about a Disney movie, something they never thought they'd imagine happening.
Yes, absolutely. In the DEI risks, the Disney Form 10-K states, U.S. and international regulators, investors, and other stakeholders are increasingly focused on environmental, social, and governance matters. For example, new domestic and international laws and regulations relating to environmental, social, and governance matters, including environmental sustainability and climate change, human capital management, and cybersecurity, are under consideration or being adopted, which may include specific target-driven disclosure requirements or obligations. Our response will require increased cost to comply. Basically, down here it says, there is no disclosure of the patent, legal, and economic risks created by the company's DEI programs. But in contrast, other companies disclose such risks. For example, and it gives an example of another corporation, Yum Brands.
Which is Taco Bell and KFC and all of those once owned by Pepsi, but spun off to be Yum Brands chain fast food places. That's what Yum Brands is.
Now, Ron, this is where I need you to weigh in for me, please. It says, accordingly, it appears that the board and management have intentionally failed to properly disclose the risks of their ESG and DEI policies as required under applicable Delaware and federal laws and regulations, harming shareholders and exposing the company to substantial litigation and regulatory risks. Now, Ron, this is rhetoric for me, but for the audience, many of them out there are just getting involved in understanding what Disney is up to and how corporations work in this level. Ron, can you explain why Disney would be located in Delaware?
Delaware, in fact, no one has done more to educate the public about this topic than Elon Musk. Delaware has, for my entire lifetime, which, as most of you realize, is pretty much all of recorded history. With all due respect to Lou Wasserman himself, who would be 174 today.
Something like that.
Yeah. Has been, until fairly recently, one of the states of choice for corporations to choose as their technical home of their technical corporate home. It has very permissive laws with respect to allowing corporations to do pretty much whatever they want to do as a matter of corporate governance. And because of that, it has developed over the last 50 years or so a very sophisticated judiciary in the Chancery Division there, which decides a lot of corporate legal issues and a lot of leverage a lot of litigation arising from securities law. What happened to Elon Musk is one of the things that I think is going to challenge that. And there are other states historically over the last 150 years, states have competed with each other to be the most permissive state possible. It used to be New York, used to be Pennsylvania. As progressive forces become more and more influential, they put more and more restrictions on corporations. Nevada is now a very popular state for incorporation. So that's the answer to your kind of corporate law 101 question there.
Right, because some people are going to see Disney in Delaware and they just don't understand what that is. So we know that Disney's headquarters are in Southern California, but they are listed in Delaware in terms of
corporate domicile. Is that the word they use? Something like that.
Yeah. Well, Delaware has been for a very long time a magic kingdom for corporate.
Well played, sir. Well played. All right, folks, we're going to get to super chats at this time. We'll come back to this topic. Breaking news happened as we started the show.
Yeah, it sure did. I cheated and looked. Wow. Wow.
So we'll get there in just a moment, folks. But first, your super chats, as they are deserving of our time and attention. First up, we have Castle Vasquez, who is a now YouTube member of the channel. Welcome aboard. Bienvenidos. We are so happy to have you. Also, Cyrano says, what is the going retainer for a BS threat? Whatever you can manage to get.
The woods are full of them.
There is no item.
Yeah.
There's no item that is cheaper on the menu than that.
That's right. Dustin Cincinnig says 5 months with this awesome channel. Here's to many more. Well, Dustin, we hope to be here for many, many more. Right along with you. We'll keep riding together. We have Elijah Snow who says, chat, lawyers are expensive. Ron, you get what you pay for, kids. That's what we're hoping.
It's true.
All right.
Unless Legal Eagle is your lawyer, then whatever you pay is too much.
You don't have to hope.
You don't have to hope. Marcus Squintess for 5 says, remember everyone, Mexican Iron Man is truly a great YouTuber. Did that work, Ron, or should I lean harder into it next
Marcus,
time?
whatever you need from me to reinforce this behavior, consider it done.
And if Mike is listening right now, Mike, this one's for you, buddy.
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world.
Ouch.
I'm telling
I wonder if gefilte fish is good with cilantro.
Rick Carrera, new member. I'm going to bet that Rick Carrera has been here longer than that. I'm going to bet that he is moving on up like the Jeffersons, and we're happy to have you at the new level. Welcome aboard. Tipping Barn for $10 says, it feels like every day is another November surprise for Disney.
Maybe more than one.
Man, I'm telling you, when it breaks after the 5 o'clock hour, that's when things are getting crazy. So we'll talk about it in just a moment.
I haven't peaked. So I'm playing along here.
Lou cheated. That's what we're finding out.
That's what I do.
That's what Lou's about. Come on.
Tanil for 2 says Lou's unique. He's corporeally marginalized. Somebody help me out. I know that's a
well.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, he's saying I'm disembodied because I'm a ghost.
Yes.
And if
Well, I knew
disembodied,
corporal, but
I'm sorry, I'm stuck with it. But
I was having difficulty adding the adjective suffix to corporal. I don't know why, but anyway.
Yeah.
Elijah Snow for $1.99. Power to the 199 says Disney has a heresy quota. Call the Inquisition.
Nobody expects
the Spanish Inquisition. I was thinking, see, great minds Python alike. What can I say?
Great minds.
Joseph Frost
age.
Ghost,
Yeah.
member for 1 month, says ghostly representation is extremely important. All right, continuing right along. Rob Weisenhunt says, wellness check for George Lucas, please. Yes, well, we're checking on George at the moment to see if he still is there. George, are you there? George, are you there? I'm only hearing responses from someone named Bob. Slade Wilson, the return man, again for 5. This time he says Ron DeSantis has successfully manipulated in a particular direction Bob Iger and the Disney board into submission. He should now make them kiss the ring of said hand. Okay, that last sentence wasn't terrible.
Yeah, that was okay.
That's okay, Slade.
I understand why you're suspicious because Slade's thinking Jonas isn't here. I can get away with one.
Well, we're putting on the screen. That's the difference. Jonas.
We have to have
Jonas
an
leaves him on
automated
the,
Slade Jonas filter somehow.
That's right. All right, Space Dave 2000. Space Dave, we just love when you send us super chats. Space Dave 2000 for 2 Canadian. He says to us, if Jonas does time, can I have his parking spot? Well, Space Dave, that would make a great episode on our favorite show. On the next episode of Space Dave 2000.
Well, hello.
All right, and continuing right along, we've got Mark Daly. Mark Daly says, Legal Eagle is a bird brain. Well, he's maybe only slightly evolved above sparrows. Bucky Cat says, here you go, pro. And I see those bucks. We won't say what kind of bucks they are, but they're bucks indeed. Then we have Changer of Ways. Beep, bop to the boop. And Changer of Ways. So, there we go. As a dark god of chaos, I'm offended by the anti-heresy rhetoric. Changer of Ways.
Changer of Ways. This is chaos. We don't anti-heresy here.
That's right. And coming to us, the person who was so utterly generous earlier this morning with That Park Place Live, showing tremendous generosity yet again, Nita.
Oh, wow, Nita.
Nita, who, by the way, Nita did not ask for this, did not encourage it, but when we saw Nita provide such support to us with That Park Place Live this morning, Nita received an emoji just for Nita. So we may have to do the same thing on this channel. We've never done it before, but this is so kind and so amazing. Nita for 200 says, loving this channel. Thank you for tooting through all the BS to find the truth pony. And Nita, we are just so thankful for that.
$200, Nita, you can use the word tooting however you want.
Oh, I will say toot, toot, tooty toot. And yeah, be happy about it with those $200. Folks, here is a celebration in honor of Nita.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I want to hear it.
Not right now.
Yes, now, Dusty Bun.
Wait. Okay.
And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stock?
Now, commence Operation Vacuum Suck. Suck.
A blindfolded half-court shot that is now the talk of campus and beyond.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is that on tape?
Yeah.
You are kidding me.
Wow.
All right, we are saying wow indeed. Thank you so much, Nita, for that very kind bit of generosity. We really, truly appreciate it. And we thank so many of you out there as well for being here. But Nita, that is extraordinary. Thank you so much. Slade Wilson, the returned man. I think Bob Iger is a power. Both the word power and the word bottom are not bad words. But when combined together by Slade Wilson, of all people, well, it does things that you did not anticipate when you first brought it up on the screen.
But since we know Disney's power plant doesn't make any power, I think we're safe.
That's right. Indeed. Slade, well played. You have defeated me yet once more. And I say to you, Slade.
Go fund yourself, Bob.
All right. Continuing right along, folks, we have another hugely appreciated gesture of kindness. Chipmunk of Vengeance has turned the chat green. No more Gandalf the Greys. People are turning green as they now know that they will be seen in the members section when we do member exclusive live streams, as well as, of course, when Genre Guys releases every week. Lou, what do you have coming out for Genre Guys next?
Well, right now, just new, we have the original, as I said, the best motion picture investment in history, which was the $1 million roughly that was spent to make Dr. No, the very first James Bond movie.
Wow.
How would you like to have put $1 million back in the 60s into that and have got, 24 movies since then and all the billions of dollars? But next time, for something completely different, we're going to show you a movie that's not in English, that has no subtitles, about every 50th word is in English, and that is, I found by accident when we did Action Jackson in tribute to the late, great Action Jackson, Carl Weathers, but this is the Bollywood version, and it's got wire work and stunts and pyrotechnics and fights and swords, and then they all stop and sing for a while and dance and do. It's just insane and wonderful. And it shows you there is entertainment out there. You just have to be able to look for it. So that'll be next week for our April Fool's Spectacular.
And folks, for membership, for the price of a membership, which is $3 at the lowest level, everybody who's a member gets access. And it's just the cream of the crop, right? There's so much more, but you at least get the Genre Guys once a week, which is where we have someone with tremendous Hollywood experience combined with someone of utter excellent intellect and Lauren. And then Tommy Tables, who I consider to be one of the greatest conversationalists out there, all combined together to talk about your favorite movies of all time. That's just one piece of membership. And folks, that's why people like John Maynor and Chipmunk of Vengeance giving these 50 pro memberships each are so tremendously appreciated. It is raining kindness here on the show. Folks, join together and let's sing along in celebration.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh, who is the man who has t-shirt to sing? Arrogant compromise all morality. Your pimples and showers are something you miss. Fire a policeman to keep your office. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants. Cringe mob woke pants.
That was beautiful.
Ron has been touched. He just doesn't know by what. Thank goodness it's not Slade.
It's got to be the scoop. We got to move on here. Ron is running on a clock, and we got to get him involved in this thing I cheated and looked at.
Come on. Right. Okay, so okay. Well, nope. We're gonna have to wait then. Ron, we're gonna jump to something else then. That is the story out of Bounding into Comics. Let me get this ready to go, and we'll come back to the breaking news, folks. We got to get Ron's opinion on this. We'll go straight to the headline, and that is that Park Place faces legal challenge from gaming organization. I will say, folks, that what we're going to talk about after this is the breaking news is Blackwell's is suing Disney. It's a big deal. We'll talk about it on the other side of this. Right now, we want to get Ron's opinion here on everything to do with this situation. So let's pull the, there we go. Okay, so here we go, guys. Hopping straight in. By the way, I'll say this. When Jonas is here doing the production of all this, he is working hard, and I am doing his job and mine at the same time. We miss Jonas. Not as much as Slade misses Jonas or Wilton, but we miss Jonas. All right, here it is. Here is the article, and then I'm just going to hand this to you, Ron, to give comment, considering we announced at the beginning of the show when you came on that you are now legal counsel for this channel, for myself. You are the representing attorney. Let's get into this. This is Bounding into Comics. Spencer Baculi, who will be joining us later. A particular outfit, which I'm not going to say the name, and I'm not going to tell you why, folks. It has nothing to do with the threatened legal action. It has everything to do with Stuttering Craig. Some of you out there may know what happened. We'll go no further, but we just won't say the name. Announces legal action against entertainment news outlet That Park Place over recent report suggesting video game diversity consultant company engages in discriminatory hiring practices.
Can we call him Voldemort?
Yeah, Voldemort works for me. In the latest escalation of the ongoing Sweet Baby discourse, video game diversity consultation company Voldemort has announced their intent to seek legal action against entertainment news outlet That Park Place over a recent report alleging that they engage in racially discriminatory hiring practices. Here's a disclaimer: says this article's author holds a personal friendship with a number of That Park Place staff members and contributors, although I will say that there was no request given for Spencer to write this article. Zero, none, nada. This is of his own volition. This latest development was kicked off when on March 15th, the That Park Place editor-in-chief, John F. Trent, published a report entitled Forspoken. Consultant Voldemort appears to discriminate in their hiring practices while claiming they are being harassed. 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 I apologize, folks. It's not harassed.
No, some people say harassed. Some people say harassed. They're losers.
I would never do it.
They do say it.
In support of this headline suggestion, Trent cited a sole February 2024 tweet wherein Voldemort put out a public call for Black women content creators that make Dungeons and Dragons content for some potential brand work. Now, that is obviously not all of the stuff that might exist, folks. That is what's in the article. It's not the extent of the evidentiary pattern that might present itself, but I will say no more. I will hand it to Ron. Ron, is it fair to say that a response is forthcoming?
A response is forthcoming.
Now you should add to that. So do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you?
All right, Ron, give us your opinions on this such that you can, to the extent you can, without breaking any of the strategies that might be involved. I'm not privy to, but go ahead and give us your thoughts. I'll hand the show to you for a moment.
Well, I think it's fair to say that the letter that I had the opportunity to see, which was not published, has many interesting aspects to it. And that it is extremely unlikely, probability approaching less than zero, that any content will be removed, altered, or deboosted by the recipients of that letter. Let's leave it there for now.
Ron, it seems to me that if there is a more broad effort to force websites, journalists, blogs, vlogs, commenters, YouTubers, etc., to silence themselves on issues such as this, that it would be, and I'm stepping outside of the current situation we're discussing. I'm speaking more broadly and theoretically. Okay, so I'm suggesting that if there is something larger at hand beyond our knowledge, that it would have a serious negative impact on the First Amendment, on freedom of the press, the appropriate coverage of public domain and public entities. Is all of that fair to say that it's really important that people be able to cover topics of public interest?
It's really fair to say that. I've dedicated a large portion of my career to saying that, and to saying it in some cases pro bono publico. That's how important the First Amendment is to me and my colleagues at the Dillon Law Group. This is the kind of thing that is our meat. And we just got served up a steaming dish.
By the way, as I understand it, these Voldemort people are in England, right? The reason I say that is, here's language. They may not understand American law and American terminology, so I'd like to give it to them in a way that I know they will if they've ever been involved in
Lou is
culture.
speaking on his own behalf here, folks.
I am.
I have no idea what he's going to say.
I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. Period.
Ron, I guess I would ask this. I don't normally ask guests to do this, and it may put you in a position that you're uncomfortable with. I don't think so. But for many out there watching right now, so we have 1,200 people in the audience, and we appreciate and see each and every one of them. For many of them, they know you as a commentator who comes on to YouTube channels. They probably know that you have a truly prolific following on Twitter/X, which, by the way, folks, if you're not following Ron on Twitter/X, seriously, over the next period of time, you want to be following Ron. I promise you, you are missing out on fun if you're not following Ron. Ron, would you shortly talk about the pedigree that you and the Dillon Law Group bring to the table?
I really, really hate talking about myself.
I knew you did.
That's why
I hate to make you have to.
That's why I have so many online profiles and post so many amusing selfies. I'm just a simple country lawyer.
Every one of them hurts him.
Of Newark, New Jersey.
Stings his piety.
Let's talk about the Dillon Law Group.
Yes.
Harmy Dillon, the head of the group. I am the New York area senior person running the New York, New Jersey office. Harmy runs the law firm. She is a very frequent media appearer. She was a regular contributor to Fox. So everybody watching this knows who she is. She is a real take no prisoners kind of gal. Firm does a great deal of First Amendment work. I guess what Pro's asking me to talk about is the fact that I have had a lot of experience myself with First Amendment litigation and was privileged to appear before the United States Supreme Court a few years back in a case involving the intersection of trademark law, really kind of administrative law, and the First Amendment. And the First Amendment won. The case is called Mattel versus Tam, and I represented Simon Tam of the Slants, and that was cool. It was a fun adventure. If that's what you're looking for, you got it.
Well, I guess, Ron, what I'm saying, where I'm leading this purposely.
Oh, then I guess wrong.
No, you're exactly right.
Rewind.
I would just like to put the bow on top of it and say that if Ron is so fortunate to be the attorney who helps bring sanity to the gaming industry once and for all, that it will be not at the top of the list of his accomplishments in his life, and that is saying something.
Well, you know what, Pro? That's very nice of you to say. I will tell you this: I've had my own little impact on certain industries by sort of helping to pioneer certain approaches to the abuse of intellectual property law. And it should not be used to restrict speech, expression, opinions. There are lots of contexts where it is appropriate. Defamation law is an area that not only is hard to prove a case as a plaintiff successfully in, but it in many states, especially in the last few years, because of the anti-SLAPP laws, a person who brings a non-meritorious defamation claim can find himself very much on the hook for fees and sanctions in a way that they might not if it were another kind of lawsuit.
Or in Elon Musk's term, they would be funded. They would be seriously funded.
They would be schlonged.
So, folks,
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you're not subscribed to Ron Coleman on YouTube, you definitely need to be. The link is down in the video description below.
I
But
appreciate
also, if you are not subscribed, if you are not following Ron Coleman on X, 241, closing in on 242, which, by the way, Ron, congratulations on the 242. We never thought you'd get from 241 to 242.
I'm not so sure that I will, because I have been moving sideways now for about 2 weeks. They do that to you from time to time.
250 is on the horizon. You and I
Yeah.
both know it.
Listen, God runs the world.
So many followers, though, and folks, stuff will be happening with Ron Coleman's accounts.
It will,
that
and
you
you're all
will
going
be
to enjoy it, I
interested in.
promise. And I'm gonna bail now because I do hear my mother calling. Great talking to you guys, and
Ron,
we will.
He's great.
Ron, for 10 seconds, could I just ask you, would you be interested in purchasing the new T-shirt from the WDW Pro Store that says Pound Sand? I don't know. It's completely unrelated to everything we've talked about. But, folks, there's a Pound Sand T-shirt. You can get stickers and all kinds of stuff. Have fun getting your Pound Sand merchandise.
That would be pretty awesome for me to wear to the gym. Not that I don't
Yes.
look pretty awesome in the gym no matter what I'm wearing. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, Ron. So do the ladies. All right, Ron. We will talk to you soon.
Good night,
we
guys.
have a great guest.
Good night.
Who would have
Good
wished
night,
to
Ron.
talk to you, Ron, but we'll bring her in just a moment.
Oh,
All right. Folks, so
is he a gem or what?
he is tremendous, and I cannot wait for you all to see how tremendous he is very soon. We promise. If you thought we were going to be timid little mice hiding in the field, you thought otherwise. All right. Now, so, folks, if our mods could please share that out, if you could get the link to the Pro Store and share this out. Folks, this is unrelated to anything we're talking about today, but Pound Sand merchandise available right now. All right, well, let's bring on our next contestant at creating excellent content in YouTube broadcasting. Folks, let's see who is at the door.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
All right, it's Kara Lynn joining us finally. Kara, I have been requesting so many times, and we've just not been able to pull it off. But Kara, I want you to know how much we appreciate you taking the time to stop by and spend time with us.
Of course. I always like hanging out with you whenever I can.
Oh,
You're so
admit it.
busy
You heard we
now.
were talking about Pikachu.
Well,
It is difficult being the rising star that you are, but I want to tell you, Kara, that we celebrate every one of your successes, and we even love thinking about those who tried to destroy you and what it must feel like to watch you rising like a comet. It's fantastic. All
Do
right.
comets rise or do they fall?
I don't know. I'll have to go back to the last season of Avatar and check it out again. All right, folks.
I think they do double inversions at Epic Universe, don't they? Those new coasters that are comets?
I think they just might.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Here it is out of Reuters.
Boy,
this is
yeah.
the breaking news that we wanted to get to. Ron's schedule dictated that we had to scuttle things up a bit, but that's okay. I think he'll be scuttling some things up shortly on the other side. Reuters says Blackwell's sues Disney over disclosure in relationship with Value Act. This by Svi Herbst Bayless. I'm going to go with that. It says, and by the way, folks, we are still doing pretty well on time. Only updated 37 minutes ago. From New York, Blackwell's Capital upped the pressure on Walt Disney in a long-running boardroom battle by suing the entertainment giant on Thursday for information that may point to possible disclosure violations in dealings with hedge fund Value Act Capital. The suit, filed in a Delaware court, Yep, it was important. We were foreshadowing, folks. Is the latest chapter in a fight over who will sit on Disney's board and help guide the home of Mickey Mouse, in business and personal decisions. Blackwell's and another hedge fund, Trian Fund Management, are trying to persuade investors to elect their direct candidates while Disney is backing its own directors. Fancy that. Blackwell's suit centers around a relationship between the entertainment company and prominent hedge fund Value Act Capital and an information sharing agreement the two signed earlier this year. Let me explain what this is. And then, Lou, I think you might have the expertise here. Folks, what this is about, as best as I can explain it, is that Blackwell's, they're doing another proxy battle along with Trian. Blackwell's has no chance of winning, in my estimation. But that said, Value Act is a firm, right? They're a company, they're a firm that came in to help Disney. They were brought in at Disney's request, at Bob Iger's request. And when they came in, they backed the Walt Disney Company. They were supposedly, allegedly brought in to deal with this proxy stuff, right? And so they were brought in and they said, hey, in our estimation, our incredible pedigree of knowledge, we think that the Disney board is the way to go. Shareholders should be voting for the Disney board. We're backing them. And news was made. Well, Blackwell's discovered that there was a prior financial relationship, huge, millions, maybe more than millions, dollar relationship between Value Act and Disney, and that had not been disclosed. Lou, is Disney in trouble with this lawsuit now they are facing?
You know how
maybe
we
they
always
need
talk,
to call Ron.
Well, you know, we always talk about the devil is in the discovery. One of the things that they're asking for, shareholders are entitled to full disclosure about the Value Act relationship, including, among the other things, all fees to it by Disney in the 10-year period leading up to Value Act's endorsement of the board. Now that there's a lawsuit, they're going to have to cough up those numbers or explain why they won't. And, it's called vote buying, folks. That's what it's called. A Value Act used to manage Disney's pension funds. And then they suddenly, oh no, well, we're not going to have them do it anymore. We'll divorce ourselves from them so there's no conflict, even though there has been for all these years. But
when you say that they manage the pension funds, how much money you think is involved in the pension funds for Disney?
Golly, I don't know.
More than the GDP of some countries, right?
Well, some small countries, yeah, sure.
Small.
But wonder if their pension funds allowed to invest in Disney stock and what card they're using.
Must be a banner of one, I tell you.
But this whole what's interesting also is they entered into this information sharing agreement, which means if one of the reasons why Iger is so scared to death of having Peltz on that board is what information he might find out, some of it Value Act already has.
That's right.
There's that.
But
this is one huge kettle of fish, folks. This is enormous.
That's right. These are sturgeon in this kettle.
Well, yeah, or manatees, maybe.
Well, the manatees don't have caviar. You don't want to, trust me, you don't want caviar from a manatee. But I want to circle back. I want to circle back and go back to that Park Place situation because we have Kara here. And Kara, although you cannot speak on our behalf, of course, that's not why you're here, and I haven't coached you on anything of what to say. Kara, you have extensive understanding of some of the corruption issues that exist inside the video game industry. Kara, could you talk about where you think the gaming industry has gone astray in the last 5 years or so?
It's because they're focusing on activism more than like entertainment now, which I do think I think that's the main thing is a lot of these companies feel like in order to get these funds, they do have to be more into, I guess, I wouldn't even say accommodating. They're more into trying to make their mark in political. Sorry, I cannot talk today. Into more political avenues, which I don't think is right for gaming. Personally, I mean, if there are particular game publishers out there that do want to focus on that, cool, that's fine. But if you're going to say that you're here to provide entertainment for everybody, then you need to be accommodating to everybody. And I've seen that it's definitely shifted a lot in these last few years, especially like these last 10 years, that I've been paying a little bit more attention. But as a lot of you guys know, I just kind of got brought into this type of space in this last like year or so. So I'm really not, I probably am not quite as aware of it as like I know people like, I wouldn't say Gary, but I'd say people like Jeremy and Az.
Let me ask you a human question, Kara. This always interests me, okay? The human dynamic of all this. When you were treated so poorly by people that you did not anticipate would do that, right? That's a real betrayal. Why do you think that people go along with it inside the gaming industry? Why do you think that there are not, I don't want to call them heroes, but why are there not people who would stand up and say, no,
because they're afraid to be
not going to do that to Kara?
Because a lot of them are afraid of their peers or who they think are their peers.
We've inverted it, Kara. We've inverted it because what should happen is the bad people should be like, oh shoot, the good person's going to catch me and is not going to allow this. Like we've inverted the value system inside the gaming industry and maybe entertainment.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is fear, and a lot of us, like myself, had kind of worked to get to the position that they had or they'd worked for years, volunteered time, or learned a lot of different skills. And then you get to a point to where you're too afraid to speak up in order to like, just to keep a grasp on something that you've worked hard on or worked hard to get to. And so honestly, I honestly think it's just a very small percentage of people in like in any industry. There's always going to be that small percentage of loud and obnoxious people.
Sure. It's 1% that commit like 67% of all crimes, you know?
Yes.
That's probably paralleled in terms of like social betrayals. It's probably 1% that do these things, but we've become this terrified society where we won't stand up and say, no, you're going to act like a grown-up and you're not going to do that to people like Kara. You're not going to do it.
And the thing is, you just kind of, as much as it sucks, it takes situations like what I did, like my stuff and other people in the industry who kind of get the short end of the stick. I wouldn't really say that as like from my perspective now. I think I've come out better than I initially ever thought was possible. But personally, I do feel that it's fear of losing everything that you worked for, and there's just a lot of people out there, or I guess there's really not a whole lot of people out there that are allowed. It just seems like it whenever you look at the whenever you see, I mean, at my last job, there was like 100 people in the company. I think maybe 10, 15 of them were out there or loud whenever it came to their opinions. Everybody else just honestly didn't care. But a lot of them would be the ones to go and cry wolf if they said anything, or if somebody said anything that could even be remotely pointed in a negative direction their way. And so it's really hypocritical, but at the same time, it's just, I know, I feel like I'm talking myself in circles right now.
No.
But it's frustrating to see that a lot of people are getting silenced just because nobody's willing to stick up for people. They're too afraid. I mean, I didn't have anybody that like I was personally friends with, people that I had personally worked with, that stood up for me during my stuff.
Right,
It was
so
all
that
people
means
who
you took
it
two
was
of
all
the
people-
hardest hits that a person can take then, Kara, because one of the hardest psychological things to deal with is when you are punished for doing good, right? Because that's just a terrible betrayal. It really damages people when they are doing something right, doing something well, and they are punished as if they're not. And then the second thing that also damages people long term is when they are hurting and nobody comes to their aid. And so that was two big whammies, and you survived it and became better. And that's very, very impressive.
And I think that a lot of it is I will always have a barrier of distance, or I will always have a line, or I'll have boundaries whenever it comes to work, I think, which I think honestly is very healthy to have, is like that work and personal life separation. But, and don't get me wrong when I say, like, I absolutely love everybody I work with, and I would go to bat for anybody that I work with right now. If people started to go after Eric, which obviously he's used to people
That
going
never
after him
happens.
all the time.
Come
Yeah,
on.
people don't go after Eric.
Let's get back into the real world. Jeez.
And and people, I think people are just so afraid of speaking up towards the bullies. Like it's just kind of, oh, hey, I'm just going to kind of sit here over in my little corner and don't focus on me. Don't focus on me. Focus on them.
It's high school cliques as grown-up businesses. It's people who never outgrew that whole level of junk. And what you said about, having that little bit of a caution. I can't tell you how many times I would meet somebody in the biz and we'd get along and we'd have lunch and everything would be swell. And then they would start saying things and I would just keep smiling. And in my head, I'm going, oh God, it's another Hollywood asshole. I'm sorry, but he was a nice guy and charming in many ways, and that's when you just start writing people out of your consideration for trust and for partnership and for sharing. And frankly, the analogy is to relationships. You see lots of people who are together and you're going, didn't either one of them notice that the other one's an idiot? Even especially when they both are. And the answer is they were so afraid of losing that they were willing to settle and willing to. Who was I telling just the other day this story about this friend of mine who was marrying this woman I knew was absolutely wrong for him, that it wasn't going to work. And he wanted me to be his best man. And I didn't want to stand up there in front of people like I was certifying this thing. And as it happens, all the groomsmen were going to wear powder blue Edwardian tuxedos with cummerbunds.
That made it an easier decision.
And I smiled and I said, on me, a cummerbund is like a cigar band on a knockwurst. Thanks a lot, but no thanks.
Well, Kara,
that was my sartorial excuse, right? But
I love it.
Anyway.
Kara, I hope when people come after Eric or Andrew or any of the rest of the guys and gals over there, I hope that I hope your pals say,
She's our friend and she's crazy!
I hope you terrify them. You're like the bulldog they know they cannot mess with, so leave your pals alone. Somebody else who is like a bulldog when it comes to the press. Somebody who does quite a bit of investigating writing and, shall we say, proper journalism. No, not journalism. Journalism. Folks, welcome to the stage. Spencer of Bounding Into Comics. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Pro, Lou, Kara, always a pleasure to be here. Also, side note, Pro, like, that's a very real thing I have to battle with, like, every day when I see people like, don't trust journalists, don't talk to journalists. It's like, I'm not that. I'm a reporter, all right? I have the little ticket in my hat.
You know the problem, Spencer. If you want him to take you seriously as a reporter, you got to get a seersucker suit and a straw hat like Carl Kolchak.
Yes.
That's the kind of reporter you are, you know?
No.
Bingo.
See, I thought you were going to recommend that I go to like CNN and I play up my race and I get like a really good victim show. You know, like that's what I heard what journalism
sending
is.
Sending you to CNN would be worse than sending Ronna McDaniel to MSNBC. You just would not fit in, Spencer.
At least they have a Taco Bell in their food court. I've been to the headquarters. I
changed my mind. Gorditas for everyone.
Pro, did you see Babylon B's latest about Rana? They said, desperate to stay in her job, she has gotten, and they had restyled her hair to look like Rachel Maddow, and she has gotten, quote, a gay haircut.
Well, she must look like Stephen Colbert. All right, folks, let's get moving. It's Super Chat time. You all deserve your due diligence. Space Dave 2000.
Dave, there is no excuse needed. You do above and beyond.
That's right. Once I lock down employment, memberships return. Space Dave, all of that is above and beyond. Just remember that. We appreciate you just for being here. Also, Slade Wilson, the return man. Maybe I should stop clicking on these before I read them. I don't know. We'll find out.
We need Jonas here to screen them.
Mr. Coleman, if I wanted to hire you for a case against Jonas blocking my First Amendment rights, how do I contact you? Slade, I will let Ron know there is a pro bono case he cannot deny. He's on the way, I promise. Nom de plume for $4.99 says, we can make her as class action, Slade. He refused to read one of mine earlier, talking about Jonas. I will always read them. Always. We have Sutton Creek Productions for $5 Canadian. Welcome to another exciting episode of Thunderdome. Ho! Then we have
the running man.
That's right. Coon TOC, $2. Ron Methuselah Coleman. He rides a T-Rex into work, folks. He tried to Stegosaurus.
I got to be older than Ron. I just have to be, I'm sure.
Elijah Snow for $4.99. Ever see a cabbage walk into a blender kid? You're about to. I feel like they confused you with Kotaku. Big mistake. Well, let's hope so.
The result of that would be borscht.
Because, yeah, I was going to say, like, that Park Place actually reports news, whereas Kotaku, I don't know what that is. An opinion blog that everybody pays for.
Strategy guides now. Didn't you hear? Strategy guides. All strategy guides.
Hopefully.
So this one you've got to read with Voldemort in the slot, Pro, if you're
right, Kara.
That's right. Slade Wilson for $5 says, Voldemort sounds like a good name for an adult channel. I offer my skills to help them set up Bonely fans sites.
That's worse.
That's worse. Mayo can help them out with that.
Lou, do you know why I said Bonely fans? With not the reason you were thinking. It's because Bo DeMaio, the writer, the showrunner of X-Men 97, called his OF Bonely fans, as in Bo DeMaio. Yes, and Disney still a good grief.
And little did you know they'd name a character after him in Keanu's mud hole.
David Fitzsimmons for $2. Voldemort Gone Wild. Next up, we've got Ken Reihart for $2. I hear Voldemort hired Dewey, Cheatham, and Howie. Ba-da-bum-sh. Well played, Ken. Well played. I cannot endorse that one way or the other, folks. I remain a third party, unwielding of my own thoughts and opinions. Jim Reaper, member for 4 months. Pound sand is good. Kick rocks is better. Who knows? Maybe it's on the back of the shirt.
Pro, I got to interrupt. I just had a vision.
Right?
Lou, what is your vision?
If this all went to trial over in the UK and Ron went over there and had to wear the wig, can you imagine Ron with them on the stand doing the scene that Charles Lawton does about, were you a liar then, or are you a liar now, or are you just a congenital liar?
If I have the fortune to go, we're singing Chim Chimney because at that point we're all in deep doo-doo and we may be sweeps. It's not going to be good if we actually have to go to the
Whoa,
UK.
that's a certain blackface. I don't think we can be chimney sweeps anymore. Do you not remember like 4 or 5 years ago?
Soot face, Spencer. Soot face. No.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We will not be pulled kicking and screaming into the racial tensions of today. Brandon, member for 5 months. It's getting too hot for Bob again. He is sweating. Sweaty
Fourth
Bob.
shower time. Fourth shower.
Sweaty Bobs. Change of ways. Beep, bop, boop. If you could make Bob bleed, people would cease to believe in him. There will be blood in the water and the sharks will come. Well, they jump the shark every week. So maybe
I was going to say, isn't Bob already bleeding now with all these lawsuits and all the bonds?
You're assuming he has any.
Sweaty Bobs. Nolan Thunder, member for 6 months. Nolan, you're supposed to be on the panel. What are you doing, man? Go click on Nolan. The forecast is calling for a shower of likes. Help the stream out, folks. Well, that will give some forgiveness your way. Get over here, Nolan. Good grief. Elijah Snow, member for 10 months. Indeed, spread the likes, folks. Yes, they are the anti-manure right here on the Pro channel. Slade Wilson, without reading, why are no Puerto Ricans on Star Trek? Because even in the future, we still don't have jobs. Too much? Hi, Jonah.
Oh, God.
That one touched the line, but didn't cross it.
At least you use family-friendly language throughout all of it.
Like I said, Slade is improving. The rehab has helped. Cyrano 2960 for 2 says, Miss Kara, you have more friends than you know.
Thank you, guys. I do appreciate. Seriously, I have you guys, everybody in this whole side of the community has just changed my life within the last year. I still cannot believe that it's already. I mean, yesterday was my 1 year at Rippaverse, and so, and then
that's a Rippaversary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm happy for you, but I'm also like terrified. Like, oh my God, it's been a year. Like
it's been a year already.
And she did this much in that amount of time. Who knows
I
what
know.
she can do with 2?
Let's go. Bloodroot, let's go.
Rippaversary achieved. And we also want to say a huge thank you yet again to Nita for that $200.
Nita, that was so awesome.
Nita.
So cool. So cool. So cool.
I was in the chat for that. And I was just like, that's so cool. Like, Nita, you're the best.
Very cool. All right, let's get to the next topic, folks, as we have to do because the news keeps on moving and we keep on moving with it. Today, we are going to Godzilla. Rotten Tomatoes is the location, and here we be. All right, I'm going to want your take on this, Spencer, big time, as well as yours, Kara. Godzilla versus Kong, the new empire, is getting reviews. There's more than meets the eye, though, here with the 61% on the tomatometer. The tomatometer says 61%, but what do we find out, folks? If we click upon the tomatometer, well, we find out that if we are on all critics, it is 61%. We also find out something very interesting. When I see this number, and hold up, pause. Folks, I'm not against Godzilla versus Kong. If for no other reason, you know how when you have a relative who loves a sports team and you don't care, but because they love the sports team so much, you cannot root against them ever. Okay? You've got that Packers fan, right, in your life. Tom Connors on Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark, which we will be, by the way, redirecting to at the end of the show. He's going to love this. He loves this stuff. He's all into it. I can't root against it. I love it too. Darn you, Tom. You've made me love your thing. But guess what? I can't ignore this particular statistic, folks, because when this happens, this is the red flag of all red flags for every movie you've ever seen. Let Pro explainify. Folks, when you see 6 out of 10 as the average is literally the number that determines whether it is fresh or rotten. And what that suggests is that all critics are landing exactly on the mark to make this be technically fresh, but
that's all.
And why do I say that maybe there is some, maybe the critics are landing there less than organically? Because the top critics, those whose jobs are not on the line, those who just say what they want to say and they won't be fired one way or the other, drops to 32%. That is a massive change. How do we go from everybody at 60% and the folks who don't have to worry about losing their jobs at almost 30% difference? That indicates to me that it's not getting quite the love that we would hope for. Now, that makes me sad because I just watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I am a huge Ghostbusters fan, and it was meh. And I don't want this movie to be meh, but it might be meh. But Spencer, I come to you because, Spencer, I think this might be a movie that it doesn't matter. Spencer, you
gotta bring him back.
No, he's not here at all. Spencer, where did you go? Kara.
Boy.
Kara, Spencer was an idiot. He had no idea what this would, how to answer this. It's up to you, Kara.
I'm not planning on seeing it.
Hang on, Kara. I'm sensing something. Spencer, you're the only man in the world who can answer this question.
I am.
Kara has no idea what to say about this. You're the only man. Spencer.
Don't look at me.
Spencer, look in my eyes right now.
What's the question? I would love to.
This is what you were born for. I never doubted you. Spencer, do reviews actually matter for Godzilla versus Kong, or is it like just doesn't matter because of the kind of movie it is?
It honestly just doesn't really matter because of the kind of movie it is and the fact that it's a franchise film. At this point, I think, everybody got that amazing Godzilla -1. Everybody saw Godzilla versus Kong. At this point, people know what they're going in for. They know that you're going to get big, dumb action. You're not going to get a story on the level of -1, but you're going to see Godzilla and Kong as buddy cops, right? So I think at this point, I think this movie's going to do just fine without it because there's that, I don't want to say a camp factor, but I want to say a fun factor where you look at Godzilla, at least I look at Godzilla X Kong and I go, I'm not expecting a lot out of this. I'm expecting monster stomping and big old punching more than any other film in the Monsterverse, right? So I think with that expectation, people just want fun popcornness. We don't need a really, really, really deep plot. I mean, even in what was the last one? Godzilla versus Kong. They tried to put a plot in there and it worked, but it was so convoluted for no reason and nobody really cares about it. Everybody just wanted to see Godzilla and Kong fighting. So I think this movie's going to do pretty dang well going forward. Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about reviews, especially Rotten Tomatoes reviews where, I loved the movie, but I didn't like the ending credits. That's a negative review or whatever. We don't know how they weigh those things anymore.
So I had thought, Spencer, I was pegging this earlier at 75 million for its domestic weekend opening. I thought it would do pretty well. I'm going to drop that now based on the reviews, not because I think the reviews matter.
Right.
But because I don't sense the enthusiasm that I was expecting. I don't feel the enthusiasm in the market that I had expected a month ago. And I'm not sure why that is. Does anybody else sense that there's just not? Besides Tom on Midnight's Edge.
Well, I'm looking at some facts. I'm fascinated to note, according to that source of all things, Wikipedia, this is the 38th Godzilla movie ever, but only the 13th King Kong movie ever, which is interesting when you consider that Kong, all right, one's an ape, one's a giant dinosaur lizard thing, but Kong has more human, emotional, facial character, and you'd think people would sympathize, even the very first King Kong. Secondly, they say it's the least expensive film in the Monsterverse franchise at $135 to $150 million. So it doesn't have to make as much to make money. But my question to you guys is this. How many people who were never into any of these kind of movies at all, but heard all the great things about our favorite wonderful movie, Godzilla Minus, and thought, well, golly, if that's what a Godzilla movie is, let's go see this one. Would that make up?
I think you're on it. Godzilla -1 has spoiled us. Kara, did you go see Godzilla -1 by any chance?
I haven't, and the weekend
Kara.
the weekend it was gonna be here in my town. I was out of town, of course, and so I didn't get to watch it. And I was planning to. I think I was in LA. I was in Pasadena for LA Comic-Con whenever Gary went to go watch it. I was hoping that I could go watch it.
It's my movie of the year last year.
I want to watch it so bad.
I feel like your husband's got like 2 tickets, and he's always like,
My point, Pro, though, was that what you were saying about less than you expected because of the review situation, is that balanced out to the positive by people who wouldn't have gone at all anyway, but now will because of the previous movie, even though they're not technically related. They may go and be disappointed. I have a feeling they will be, because this can't be as artistically, humanly complete as that movie was. There's just no way. But
Right.
they'll still
It's a
pay their
masterpiece.
tickets the first week. So,
Right. It's a masterpiece. It's like somebody said, I got to make a Godzilla movie, but I want to make Citizen Kane instead. Let's have at it. So that's
funny you said that. I was going to say,
and then they put it in black and white.
Citizen Kane, we're going to do Citizen Crane, and it's with further adventures, and it wouldn't do as well. But people
Spencer, what were you saying? What did you have, Spencer?
Oh, I just said and then they put it in black and white, like even more like
Godzilla minus color.
Citizen Kane. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Minus color.
beautiful marketing, guys. I want to go back for just a moment because we cut this off early when we were talking earlier at the very beginning of the show, folks. We had to scuttle some things around. For those of you just joining us, Ron Coleman was here. We introduced Ron Coleman in a different way than usual. We introduced Ron Coleman as my attorney and as legal counsel for that Park Place. So Ron Coleman is taking over that side of things. And we had a good time, but Ron had to go, and so we had to swap out the stories. I want to go back now, if it's okay with everybody, to the America First Legal, because there's a part of this we didn't get to that's so important, and I think our panelists will have so much to say. After that, we're going to go to Super Chats. By the way, folks, we've got bonus member chats for our YouTube members at the level 2 and higher tiers of memberships, and we've got Patreon chats coming. So here's what we've got. Again, this is from American First Legal. This is the major letter that they dropped today ahead of the lawsuit that Blackwell's filed against Disney today. Man, everything just gets hotter and hotter. Dang it, it's hot. Folks, fill the chat with dang it, it's hot emojis. It's the time.
Culture Casino keeps doing these videos about, Disney got sued again. He can't keep up with this. Two in a day. I mean.
There you go again. All right, this is so important. We can't miss it out. We'll come back to this document again in the future, but for today, this is where we'll have to drop it. But this is so important. Politicized content aimed at indoctrinating young children is the title of it. Can you believe that this is an illegal document? Can you believe this is an illegal document? It says
somebody had to call it out eventually, right?
Somebody did, and they did indeed. Disney describes its Disney Plus streaming service as primarily offering, quote, general entertainment and family programming, unquote. However, the Disney Plus catalog includes unnecessarily controversial and politicized content that is demonstratively misaligned with the company's core consumers. Disney Plus profiles in junior mode, a setting designed to only show content that is appropriate for all ages, hides many classic Disney films, but includes controversial content consistent with the company's extreme social and political agenda. Stop. Let's get the commentary just on that. Panel, and particularly we'll start with Kara.
I'm just learning of all this. This is so spicy.
You know this though. You know this part though. Disney, when you switch it into kid mode, right? So it's safe for kids. They hide the stuff that Walt made, the stuff that we all agree has been appropriate for 60, 70, 80 years.
Now.
That's crazy.
Kara, how crazy is it for a company?
Problematic.
How problem is it for a company to cut out its own foundation, though?
It's pathetic.
But it's what they put there instead. I didn't realize they were putting Black Power fists and
Proud Family,
anti-police and
Proud Family was insane.
Yeah,
that's the heaviest-handed propaganda I've ever seen.
Right, yeah, louder but prouder. Correct, Kara.
Yes. Old Proud Family was good. New Proud Family.
Old Proud Family.
Yes, I loved the Old Proud Family. I used to watch it all the time.
Oscar was my guy.
Yes.
Kara, there are those who say that we hate the Disney company, right? You and Spencer, and guess what? Me. We all love the original Proud Family. That we like Disney. We don't like Bob Iger Company. The Bob Iger Company sucks. The Walt Disney Company was great. We don't understand why it had to go away. And that's the problem. Well, hiding Walt's stuff sucks.
It's Walt right.
There's another part about this, though, Pro, this came after the stuff we were looking at before, right? In this letter, in this document, because the other. Well, when you in this one, when you were talking about that thing that I found, everybody could find it.
Yes, this is further down in the document.
Okay, so my point is that was a statement in their annual or their quarterly report to the SEC that they are obligated by law to give, where they had to say, some of these opinions we had that we're putting in our stuff might alienate the audience because they might not like them. It's one thing to say it might not. What this part says is, we want to, and we're proud of it, and we're going to stick it in your face no matter what. So there. And that is why these folks at America's Legal are so brilliant to tie all this together with the idea that shareholders are being hurt and investors are being hurt and people who expect them to be doing something to make money. It's one thing for them to say, not everybody loves everything we do, and that's just the nature of the beast. It's another thing to say, we know they don't like it, and we're doing it anyway, big time. And the proof is that they're hiding things. You don't hide stuff unless you know damn well it's going to be a problem. So,
right. So to get to the old Disney stuff, do you have to go into like an adult account and then like navigate over to like animation? Because I don't have Disney Plus.
I don't either, and never have.
That's a great question, Spencer. You go to the grown-up account, right? And then all of the legacy Disney content is there, or at least everything that's on Disney Plus. If you click on that, it puts a disclaimer up and tells you that it's an awful, terrible thing that was wrong then and it's wrong now, and yada yada yada. And it maligns the masterpieces that Walt Disney, the man, the founder, created. And I don't see how you can separate those out. So if you think that Walt himself created terrible ist and phobe kind of content, how can you say that without saying that he's an istinophobe?
Right.
And that's why I think this is all on a timeline.
If
and eventually
they were honest,
they're going to remove
change the name of the company. If they were honest, they would lose the name Disney and call it the Amalgamated Intellectual Woke Folks
Mickey
of the Universe.
Inc. or something. Like that's what it'll be. Mickey Mouse Inc.
Mikhail.
Mikhail Inc.
Comrade Mickey.
Comrade Mickey LLC.
Well, let's continue on with Bob and Co. Here is the
gingerbread person.
Exactly. When we get to a legal document that brings up Rachel Zegler, it's a good day.
Woo!
So here we go, folks. Weird. Disney has also already faced backlash stemming from its upcoming live-action remake of Snow White, which stars an actress of Colombian descent as the titular character who is called such because her skin is as white as snow. Folks, that's not setting up a hierarchy of white skin is better than dark skin or brown skin.
Exactly.
No.
It's just descriptive.
Yes, and it's because in Germany during that time period, having light-colored skin meant that you stayed indoors, and you couldn't do that unless you were flat-out nobility. So it is an indicator of her royal lineage. That's why she's called Snow White. Anyway, in this upcoming version, Disney initially appeared to replace its dwarf characters with 7 racially diverse men and women actors without dwarfism, because Disney is a company that believes in exclusion. Get out of here, you dwarfs! At first, Disney initially commented, to avoid reinforcing stereotypes for the original animated film, we'll remove dwarfs and never let them work in Hollywood again. No, that's not what it says. It's what they meant. Was taking a different approach with these.
You got to take off your "they live" glasses, Pro. You're seeing the truth too much.
Disney also appears to have heard the criticism and has since released an image with Snow White surrounded by 7 dwarfs, each with cartoonish features and still named after the animated counterparts. And I would say, folks, that they're animated CGI dwarfs. They're still not real. They still kicked the people with dwarfism to the curb and said, "You're not allowed in our diner. Get out of here, you dirty dwarfs." How offensive.
No matter what they do, they're bound and determined to make Peter Dinklage angry.
What are you saying, Kara?
I understood both of those.
I said they don't exist, but we're not going to acknowledge that they do actually exist.
I'm laughing because I didn't ever put that together, Pro. Like, yeah, we still said "get out of here, dwarfs," but like watch them cast the most like Hollywood perfect looking people, or like attractive people in those roles. Like you're gonna get like Jason Momoa, you're gonna get like Sydney Sweeney, and then it's gonna be like, yeah, representation.
I did not think of that, Spencer. That is great. so you could hire someone with actual dwarfism to play the dwarfs, and instead we'll get in there and it'll be like Tom Hiddleston as
right,
Grumpy.
exactly.
I can hear
100.
I
can
both
hear the
of those.
phone call
Both
now.
of those. 100%. I would put money on both of
I
those.
can hear the phone call now. They're calling Peter Jackson down under, and you know that forced perspective thing you did to make Gandalf look bigger. Do you think that would work with Jason Momoa and The Rock to make them look smaller?
Oh man.
Just
tell
do
us
the,
how to do that. That was great.
do that really terrifying technology they did for like Chris Evans in Captain America when they put him on the skinny body. Just do that with like their faces and put them on dwarfs.
That is tremendous. All right, well, folks, we're about to get to super chats and then to bonus member chats as well as Patreon chats. Before we do all of that, Spencer, I wanted to let you know that before you came on, and you were probably listening in, we talked about this article you have on Bounding into Comics. I did not proposition you for this to become made manifest. Nobody from that Park Place reached out that I'm aware
not.
of.
Nope.
Of your own volition. But Spencer, just and again, you're not speaking.
Right?
not
Isn't that
money.
insane? I didn't have funds coming in from underneath
and they
the
didn't
table.
pay him for being a key witness in the Gina Carano suit either. My
This is
God.
I know.
Stop happy hate. Okay, Disney, I'm out. I hear you. I'm calling you out.
So, Spencer, what I'd like to get your take on from that article is, you're not speaking on behalf of the channel. You're a third party to this. But, Spencer, could you give us your third party analysis of what did you think when you heard that?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know, bro. We're not calling them by their name because we.
I know that part. I know that.
So
part.
we're calling
I
them
heard that part.
Voldemort. We're calling them
Let me
Voldemort.
explain that. Let me explain. So I didn't explain it earlier. Let me explain. The reason that I don't believe we should use that name any longer. Folks, imagine if I said that I'm starting a company and it's going to be Blue Avatar YouTubers, and that's the name of the company. Then anytime I put out a statement that says Blue Avatar YouTuber says, it sounds like I'm speaking on behalf of far more people than are actually involved with me. So I don't like company names that give the connotation that they speak on behalf of an entire group.
Which is
That's
why they
I
do
don't
it.
like it. Right.
Which
and I
is
don't
why
like
they do
that.
it.
So with that said, Spencer,
As
what
a
were your
fan of
thoughts?
Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys, I agree with you.
You win, Lou. You win the day.
You were worried about our channel getting taken down for Voldemort?
No, that's it, folks. It's over. See ya. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue. Folks, we'll stay with you. All right, Spencer.
Yes. Question.
Thoughts when the story landed, this idea that these video game consultation firms might be able to end coverage in some way.
Right. So, again, guys, like Pro said, I'm speaking completely as an individual, not as a representative of Bounding, not as anybody, not as a contributor or friend of that Park Place, definitely not in any legal capacity. So with that out of the way, when I saw the story drop, I will admit that I was a bit surprised because, obviously we all know John used to work with me over at Bounding and he regularly ran headlines that were similar to this. We are very careful about using hedging language, right? Like allegedly appears such and such. So when I saw that somebody was actually going to take some sort of action on an article, I was very surprised. Upon looking at it, I don't think that, there's two realms here. I think there is not exactly a case, but I think they can make a headache for you just because we all know how legalese goes. So even if John and Pro and everybody are completely in the right, I can definitely see, legal back-ending, getting in picking out a word here, choosing a word there. We all know how these things can go. Unfortunately, that's how our legal system is. In the larger scheme of things, I don't think there's anything really actionable that they can do to you guys because John did use the hedging language. But to that end, I also think one of the things, obviously they're never going to be able to stop coverage. The entire thing that's where they were like, anybody who shares this is going to get legal, what's the term? Like you're going to get served, you're going to get a notice or whatever. I genuinely don't know how that even works. That just seems like they were trying to scare you guys. But you can't stop coverage of this because this is still going to be public news, right? Like it's the Streisand effect all over again. It's the exact same thing that happened with Sweet Baby Ink Detected. They launched legal action against you guys, and now people like Mark Kern, people like Bounding, we're all spreading the news because now it's a story. So now you're getting more people to realize and wake up. So even if, you, again, devil's advocate, you go to court, this goes all the way, and they say, oh yeah, that Park Place was wrong. They don't, according to what they laid out, there's no evidence here for racial discrimination. As you guys were pointing out before I joined on, there's a lot of stuff in their, what do you want to call it? Their materials, I guess, their operations manuals, guides, all that sort of stuff that isn't going to work out favorably for them. One of the things I saw commented on the Bounding article was this isn't going to make it past discovery, and it's not. But I kind of want it to go to discovery. I know it would cause a headache, but imagine what we're going to get out of Voldemort should this actually go. At this point, they're just going to blow up their reputation for a legal win. If that, again, I don't think this is even actually going to go anywhere. I'm not privy to the actual filings. I haven't talked to Ron or you or anybody on this matter. This is literally the first time I'm vocally speaking out loud on it. So yeah, I think it is empty. I think it's, or not empty, but I think it doesn't have a lot of substance. But like with all legal things, it could make a headache, and that's the part. I don't know how. I don't know when. I just know I don't know how.
I don't know when. But I sense legal's coming again.
Can I make one suggestion to everybody here and in the
Please,
chat
Lou,
and everywhere
please.
else?
Of course, Lou.
When we wipe the floor with them, and when
Lou
they
is
are
speaking on his own behalf again.
When they are
He's
driven
not privy to any
back
insider
into
information.
Please make fun of them. Please laugh.
I cannot
at them.
encourage this.
The best thing you can do to a bully, because they aren't about us, they're about scaring other people into shutting up and sitting down and taking it. The best thing you can do to a bully is make them look ridiculous and laugh at them. Being angry at them doesn't get you anywhere, but making them patently ridiculous gets you everywhere, because they can't fight back against that, because the answer is yes, they are ridiculous. They're hilarious.
You egg-sucking piece of gutter trash.
All right, folks, let's get to super chats. Before we do, Kara needs to be moving on because she is a busy, busy lady.
She's so popular.
Success is tough, but she is tougher. Kara, tell the folks where they can find you later.
Well, I am gonna be jumping into my stream to play some more Dragon's Dogma 2 because I can't put it down. I've only played a couple of days, and I've somehow already have 25 hours into it. I just kind of black out, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I played this game. What?
Neurologist, Kara, neurologist.
It's so good. It's such a good game. I love it. So I will be playing some Dragon's Dogma 2 over on my channel. You can find it over here, Kara Creates. And yeah, that's I'm gonna go hang out there. So if you want some content of me trying to take on monsters that I probably shouldn't attack, but I'm gonna anyway.
If they're only fight them if they're 20 levels above you. That's the rule.
Well, I'm not so I will. I do know how to pick my battles, and I also know how to not fall in the water a million times.
Based on your professional career, I would say
better.
Yes,
You're
you do know
good.
how to pick your battles and win them. Kara, have a wonderful night. We will see you very, very soon.
It's great to see you.
Yes, it's always great
a
to
pleasure,
see you
Kara.
guys. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will talk to you guys.
Oh
soon.
wait, Kara, I have one question for you before you go.
What's
Can
that?
you fire Andrew from the Rippaverse, please, as a personal favor?
I wish I had that power, but I will go
Kara.
and I'll firmly scold him for you.
You've had
I'll say,
that
on
power
behalf
all
of
along.
Spencer,
Just click your heels
yes,
3
thank you.
times and say,
I knew I could count on Kara.
on behalf of Spencer, I'm
I
sorry,
clicked my heels
but
3
you got to
times.
work harder or you're out.
Just you.
Oh, we've lost Spencer.
You just got to give him the Falcon speech and tell him to do better.
That's right.
Okay.
Do better, you.
Deal.
All right, Kara.
Deal.
We will see you very, very soon.
I owe you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kara.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Kara.
All right, folks, it's time. That's a bizarre layout. Let's get that fixed. Here we go.
Yeah, what was that? I got weirded out by that.
You were suddenly an Easter Island head there.
Yeah, I was a Moai head.
We looked so good. All right, folks, super chat time.
Name
Nolan
our band.
Thunder for 199. Power to the 199 says, I'd love to get in there, but I never got a link. That means it's all the blame lands on the boss man. So everybody in the audience, listen closely. No one go anywhere. Pay attention. Nolan Thunder, I need you for the Disney shareholders meeting, the giant show at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Nolan, it's the biggest show of the year, and I'm inviting you to be one of my VIP panelists. Would you please be there? Folks, hold my feet to the fire and make sure that you remind Nolan and me to send him the link. He will be there for the biggest show we do for 365. And let's review, folks, why it's such a big day. Hey, folks, Wednesday, April 3rd is the Disney shareholders meeting where we find out if Nelson Peltz has a seat on the board or if the proxy war continues on. Coverage begins at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Culture Casino. Moving right over to the Pro Channel, a special edition of the Pro Show, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern. And then we go to Valiant Renegade for live coverage, 1 p.m. Eastern until who knows when. It is the big day for Disney.
Nelson.
I
was going to say, I've seen a lot of things.
Nolan.
I've never seen a board meeting fly, I think was what I was thinking. Watching Dumbo
This
in
one,
that
man.
shot.
Listen, Disney, folks, I still don't think Nelson Peltz wins, but I also think Disney's acting like he is. And that's weird. Like, this is really strange. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Aaron, there you go. Battle of the Bulge.
You know what? Response to Voldemort, nuts.
Yeah,
nuts to
change of ways. Beep to the bop to the boop. 4-5. If you're schlock, commit to the schlock. Don't pretend that you're clever. Looking at you, Schneider. There you go. Darth Racer 777 for 10. So Disney Plus might hide 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea so they can show an equivalent to Cuties. Sounds like something Disney would do. Yes, it's fine for Baymax to be providing particular hygiene projects or products to people of small stature in middle schools across the country. But don't you dare put on something from the 50s that features a cat with chopsticks. Get out of here.
You watch the Swiss Family Robinson. Don't you do it.
No, don't you do it. They're
we
horrid,
are hygiene
horrid
products
people.
if you don't please.
They're horrid people.
I'm single.
Jump
Oh, you might want to trip in.
And see, kids, that's why we don't go watch Marvel movies. I told your parents not to take them. That Valkyrie, she's a creeper. You stay away from her now, you hear? And don't go to any more of those MCU movies, or else I won't even give you a sucker no more for it. They're dirty. They're dirty movies.
Even Herbert.
Dirty movies.
All right. Doggy for 2 months says Disney Channel must shut down. It indoctrinates kids. Well, Doggy, they actually shut down Disney Channel all over the world. It remains in North America, but most places Disney Channel is indeed gone.
What did they build it into? I didn't know that.
Just GONE gone. It was no longer making them money. They wanted to move people into Disney Plus. Yep.
Whoa. I would have assumed they like folded it into ABC or something, but that's no
because
Disney Channel. What a bad
Disney
move. What are they
Channel.
doing?
The advertising on Disney Channel is bizarre, so they didn't make hardly any money on ad revenue.
That makes
It's
sense.
always been that way. William Thompson, member for 4 months. Lou is kicking on 4 cylinders. Lou,
I would appreciate that if I wasn't a V8. But anyway, but I admit that I miss every other time, so that's fine. But thank you, William. I know what you meant.
he's just idling, folks. He's not even trying. With 4 cylinders tied behind his back. All right, Sick Lid for $10. You are correct, Pro. The African American community is still reeling from the BLM grift. The opinion of Sick Lid.
Sure.
I hope that as society moves forward, I dream of a day that MLK dreamed of. I dream of a day where everybody can be friends and merit rises to the top, not based upon the color of one's skin, but based on the content of their heart, the content of their character.
Can I make an observation that is both profound and obvious at the same time?
Bless us with your profundity, please, sir.
People who do not want to be judged by the content of their character, it's because their character sucks.
I shall add to you, Lou. Those who wish not to be judged by their character are not the kinds of characters you wish to be near.
Exactly.
All right, going to Changer of Ways. Beep to the bop the boop for 5. Lou, if they were honest. Lou, if Disney was honest, Burbank would become a hole in reality.
Oh, Burbank's an okay town. I have friends in Burbank.
He knows peeps.
I was in Burbank once when it hailed in Burbank. If talk about hell freezing over.
People are now going to check headlines, Lou, to see when it was.
I was going to say, yeah, like,
I came
you
out
weren't.
of a movie
No, you
theater
weren't.
in Burbank, and suddenly there was hail coming out of the sky in Southern California. Go figure.
H-A-I-L, folks, not the wildfires. All right, continuing right along. Enrique Vasquez, member for 8 months, says, like when everyone in Simpsons made fun of Nelson. Poor stupid Nelson. And continuing right along, we've got Kamchi, $4.99. I'm glad that Sour Devil Mask, sweet baby fish, exposing themselves and handing ammo to push back on DEI, ESG crap in games, especially with the Toriyama remark. Yes, that was not a very kind thing that they did. It is like going to a funeral and having poor remarks. It's not the place to do it. Should not do it. Don't do it. Nay.
But
we also want to give yet another salute to Nita. Nita, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. All right, let's get to our bonus member chats. Here we go, folks. Let me get those ready. And by the power of the internet, we deliver to you your thoughts, your very own thoughts. Member chat, you know what? Let's refresh this one time just to make sure we get everybody who's on the boat. Look at that. 6 comments now. We did it. We did it. Olaf Van S says, guys, you are really rocking it. Sadly, due to the time differences with 2-week distances of DLS, I have been missing on some great live streams. And what's going on with the channels this weekend? Europe will finally sync their clock. So happy to be with you guys. More at the start of streams. Wishing everyone a good Friday and a happy Easter this weekend. And I wish to all of my Jewish friends out there a very meaningful Passover season as well. So happiness.
The UK, wait, the UK does like a daylight savings time too?
That is outside of my forte. I'm not sure.
I was just going off of his message. I have no idea.
So the UK doesn't often match up exactly with the rest of Europe. So that's why I'm not exactly sure.
Right. Yeah. So who knows how that works? That's
if you're one of our British friends out there, drop a comment and let us know. We would love to know. Dustin Cincinnic says, for the panel, which of the 5 lands at Epic Universe are you looking forward to most? I can respond with just one guttural utterance. Wahoo! What do you guys say?
you took the utterance right out of my mouth.
Well, when it comes to a particular attraction, it's got to be that Donkey Kong coaster that jumps the track. Illusory.
Yeah,
that's just the neatest idea. Although everything I hear about the elevator thing at Harry Potter is pretty great, and everything we saw today, wow, the stuff from Burke, wonderful, beautiful.
That's right.
I will say I'm interested to see what they do with the Dark Universe stuff, just because those properties are like so old. What are you guys going to do with them? It's not like a negative thing, like, oh, you're going to screw it up. I'm just like curious. What are you guys going to do? Show me.
That Burning Mill restaurant looks like a great idea too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That restaurant looks.
Speaking as
really
a foodie, Atlantic, where you're in that fishbowl and enjoying surf and turf as the world goes by. That looks like a fun idea for a restaurant.
It reminds me of the isn't that what they do in California Adventures with the like aerial ride or something, or like the isn't there like a little mermaid restaurant?
Yeah, you get in the clamshell and ride around.
Yeah, but I want that wall so bad. Like I want that, Lou. Lou, I'm taking you to dinner.
It's a deal. Right. It's a deal. You know, when we did Dr. No on the genre guys, there's this great line when Bond first walks into Dr. No's lair, and there's this massive glass window on the ocean because they're down underneath in this island. The first line that Dr. No says in the movie that you see him say, he says, $1 million. And Bond says, what? He says, you were wondering what it costs to build. That's what everybody wonders.
But now, Lou, some have said, though, that there was an allegation that Dr. No is the best James Bond movie. And I think there's a lot out there who say that
no, I don't think
Goldfinger
so.
is.
Well, I think Goldfinger is when they really came into their own and got the whole formula perfect.
Right.
I think From Russia with Love has a whole hell of a lot going for it as the transition to get there. But Goldfinger was the first one I ever saw in a theater. And that theater happened to be Grauman's Chinese, by the way.
What? Like back when it was an actual theater and not just like a fancy event theater?
Well, yeah, but it was a real theater. Sure. I used to go to the movies there all the time. Didn't I ever tell you, Spencer, when I was a kid growing up in the wonderful hills of Beverly, our phone number was one number off from Grauman's Chinese.
No, you never told me that.
And we would get wrong numbers. And my father was a character, and my father would say, Grauman Chinese laundry, no tiki, no shirty. Or he would say, there was a famous mortuary company in LA called Groman's. So my father would answer, not Grauman's, Gromans. How may we help you in your hour of need? But the funniest one was when somebody called up and said, is Mary Poppins playing there? And he said, no, but if I see her, I'll tell her to come right home. So
one more trip down memory lane, folks.
All right.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
All right, folks. Space Dave 2000 says, do you feel Universal will spike ticket costs when Epic Universe opens, or will they do a slow and steady fleecing?
If you're getting value for money, it's not fleecing.
I don't think, now this is just speculation. A lot of times, I know some stuff. And by the way, I know some stuff about the Mandalorian movie that we're not covering yet, but it's a coming.
What? Pro has insider tips. He's got a 99% accuracy rating.
It landed at about 2:00 p.m. Eastern, Spencer, in my inbox, and I am working on it, but it's not ready to bring it out yet. But it's a dandy, so we'll be sharing it.
I'm ready.
Sure,
I'm ready.
But anyway.
But anyway, I don't think that Universal will dramatically raise prices, because when you add an extra theme park, you add an extra entire day that many people are going to want to stay.
Yeah, revenue stream.
That's exactly what I was going to say. One of the remarkable things I always point out to people about Dollywood, they have a regular day pass and a 2-day pass and a 3-day pass. You know what the difference is in price? About $10, $15 for the extra bumps for another day. Because they want you, that's all for an extra day, because they want you to stay and eat in the restaurants and stay in the hotel and all. And that's Universal's whole point, is to make the place you go for your 1 week a year vacation their places, not the other guy's places. So,
and by the way,
yeah,
one of the attractions revealed today in the How to Train Your Dragon Land looks so similar to a Dollywood attraction that I'm betting they're the same thing, just reskinned by the same company. And it's a really good ride. So Aurora Uplinks has sent in a Star Wars movie idea. Here we go. A quick exploration of 10 or 12 different planets in the ending days of the Old Republic, an opening of the New Order, the Empire, where we can see the cultures and how they are pulled out of the Clone Wars and into Palpatine's schemes, ranging from a few planets that might get visited by Imperial characters, ranging from Palpatine himself to Darth Vader, even Moff Tarkin in all his CGI goodness, and maybe even having planets visited by Mon Mothma and whispers about rebellion. A lot of fun could happen, and we could have a few background character scenes where Alderaan is even brought up. Good job, Aurora Uplinks. It's a movie I would go see.
So I would actually push back and say, instead of a movie, that sounds like a really good anthology TV series, like
or
a 30-minute, 45-minute episode on Naboo, on Kashyyyk, right? And that's all you need. Because I just think a movie would be a little too long for sort of not enough payoff. Since
I have a name. The Skywalker's Guide to the Universe.
Gosh, all right, you're out of here. You're out of here.
Can we put that on a shirt? I'll find out. All right, Kocho Dragon says, everyone should know that everything you guys do here on the channel is not always negativo on Disney. We all love Disney. We just don't agree with what the current leadership does. Whatever happens, come the vote, we always have to hold Iger and others accountable. Always love what you guys do and never stop doing what you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Dragon. I apologize,
to do better.
Dr. Dragon. All right, and what do you call it? Ona Dikid. Sorry, took me a moment to remember. Ona Dikid says, Disney killing the movie theater industry one movie at a time. Yes, well, we hope they stop at some point and start doing things better. Folks, don't forget that if you would like to purchase the brand new item at the Pro Store, it is called Pound Sand. You can get it as a t-shirt. You can also get a decal sticker to put wherever you so need. Let's now go to our Patreon chats. And here we go, folks. Give Pro just a minute. It gave us a little glitch. Spencer, quick, give us some spiel while Pro pulls it back up.
All right, awesome. Guys, speaking of Godzilla X Kong, if you are in Texas and you are interested in seeing the film, Bounding Into Comics is giving away 20 tickets or Fandango movie codes. We're partnering with Legendary. So go over to our Twitter, go over to our Facebook. You can find the sign-up form. Again, Texas only. It's for Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. But if you're in the area, test your luck. Come get a free ticket. They're all good. It's good for 2 tickets each.
But don't try to use them on Luca because it definitely won't work.
Don't tell Jonas. Don't tell Jonas. I'm going to get him a bunch of those codes and say, Jonas, I got you tickets.
Fake Luca tickets. All right. From the Patreon. This is where, folks, by the way, www.patreon.com/WDWPro, where we post the spicy stuff that can't go anywhere else. Patreon chats right here, right now. S. Stanley says, do you think Iger will use the Acolyte as a write-off to help push Disney Plus into profitability?
The problem with write-offs is you have to write them off against something. You have to have a positive to match the negative.
How about I answer it this way, S. Stanley? There is a Star Wars story that will release tomorrow morning on this channel that is going to make many of you gleeful. It is hilarious. You don't want to miss it, and it speaks to this exactly. Hang tight. I'll just leave it there. Flying blind on a rocket cycle with the best name known to mankind. I'd be curious to know if Disney abandoning their lawsuits was part of any sort of deal with SIFTOD to get out of investigations into their ... activities. Well, I think so to some degree, but not to all degrees because third parties will be involved.
See, the people investigating now, it isn't SIFTOD. SIFTOD did the audit. They did their deal. They got the evidence, and they handed it on to the appropriate authorities. Who are they? They are the state of Florida. They are the SEC. They are the Department of Justice. They are all of the people with guns and lawyers and stuff who give you a hard time if you're a crook. Those guys have to keep investigating.
The other thing, though, Lou, is I would say that Disney was plenty happy to say, hey, you keep digging this stuff up on us. Could we stop? Like, don't give them any more stuff. And I think that might have been where this went. It says, for instance, I'd like to know if SIFTOD ever got into that power plant they were denied access to. On a side note, a possible fundraising idea, you could start a cooking show called Roasting with Wilton. The only problem there would be the only recipe would always be Jonas de jour. So, Kenneth
there
Wiggins.
Must be 50 ways to roast your Jonas.
Kenneth Wiggins out.
Whoa, that's after dark.
What are your thoughts on the Nickelodeon documentary that came out on Max? I will be honest, I would have thought this documentary would have been about Disney before Nick. I was shocked. Well, I am not. I'm not shocked because watching some of those shows, although I didn't spend much time watching them in the past, but watching them to some degree, they always were kind of on that weird side where kids were doing things and acting in ways that made you say, who's behind this? So it's not shocking to me that some of the kiddos who were there left messed up.
I would like to say something about that.
Please.
I have worked with a lot of great kid actors, and people always said, oh gosh, are they all screwed up? I said, no, because the ones I worked with had great parents who took great pains to make sure that they weren't. And I don't mean just molested or anything awful like that. I just mean not having an ego and not having I'm a star and I'm 12 years old
Being a
and
normal
everybody else
person.
is less than me. But I will also say that some of the people assume, a lot of people assume, if this was going on, everybody must have known. No, everybody must not have known. A couple of people who were very prominent people there have come forward who I happen to know and said they were apologizing for having backed up one of the people that's turned out to be one of these people because they just couldn't imagine that he was that way. And if they worked with him as closely as they did and didn't know, they didn't know. That's how clever some of these sick people are at hiding what they do. So
Lou, did you ever feel a personal protectiveness over any of the kids that you worked with?
No, they never needed it. A couple of them were jerks, but they were just jerks, you know. And by the way, the two jerks I can think of, funny, one season they weren't there anymore. And why? Because they thought they were so great that their agents or them or their parents came to the show and said, well, we're such a big part of this show. We want about 10 times as much money. And they, rather than negotiate with them, but just basically said, well, we don't, goodbye. We don't, goodbye. And you
there's the door. Yeah.
Bro. Right. And they never addressed the kids who left. It's just,
well, you know, there was no reason to. It was just, all I'm saying is, if you get into that game of, well, your situation now, if you'd have gone to them, well, you know, can we do it till we need glasses, so to speak, and make some kind of a deal in between times? If we sort of, anybody who apologizes to the mob, they're never satisfied, you know? Never. And that's politically, culturally, everything. Anybody who agrees to negotiate with blackmailers is not going to win. And so, you know, Hollywood is not automatically the source of all evil, folks. There's lots of very good people there.
Oh, yeah.
I was extremely lucky to have worked 99% of the time on shows I was very proud of. And the 2.5 times that I did shows that I didn't think were so great or that were difficult situations, I left. I would have been richer and famouser if I did a lot more shows and didn't care. But I basically made it a basic contention in my life. And anybody in any industry can do this if they're brave and honest, not to work with jerks. That's all. That's all.
And folks, listening to Lou and realizing, you know, what can happen. It's not Hollywood. It's everywhere. And you all out there, you are the ones who, if you are watching out and you are careful and you're conscientious, when you see things going wrong, you can be the one that in your workplace, in your family, in your community, you can be the ones who make sure that people aren't treated the way that Kara was treated. You can be the ones who make sure that things don't happen, such as what's in the documentary. You all can be the safe people that others know that when things get tough, you are tougher. You can remember this.
Being aware of something going wrong is not just something that you can say, gosh, that's bad, and get away from. It is an obligation that you share that truth. That's the hard part.
Let us all remember the words of advice from the Oracle of Oracles in all of human history.
Now, the minute it looks like there's gonna be trouble, we got to nip it! Nip it in the bud!
And folks, if you nip it in the bud before it ever begins to grow, you'll have this much fun.
What are those?
These are my Spider-Man pajamas.
Let me rephrase that. Why are you wearing those?
Because my He-Man pajamas are in the laundry.
All right, folks, we have had a wonderful time. The most recent poll that we ran asked for you to grade this show today. Over 100 votes in, 74% of you give it an A, 17% a B, only 7% less than that. And that is something we will take gladly, happily. We love to deliver for you. A place that's always delivering.
If you liked it, share it, tell your friends, get them in here, subscribe. If you didn't like it, don't tell anyone.
That's right. Spencer, a place that's always delivering is Bounding into Comics. Can you tell the folks out there what's the story for tomorrow's edition?
Tomorrow's story for tomorrow's edition is, gonna be honest, whatever you drop, Pro, I'm really excited to see this Mando scoop. Like, genuinely, I'm waiting for that to drop, and it'll be out and Bounding as soon as you guys break it. If that's okay. I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
No.
But yeah, that's what we've got
looking
going
right now
on
to
over
see.
at Bounding.
You've inspired me, Spencer. I'm looking right now to see if I do not have a response yet from the source that I'm seeking out. Okay.
It'll come,
all right,
folks. It'll come.
10:30 a.m. Eastern.
I believe in Pro.
By the way, if there's a completely different topic in the morning and everybody's sad, it will be because the source did not come through. But anyway, I'm confident. I'm confident. I tell you, folks, there is a huge week ahead of us. This is the week you've all been waiting for. This is This is the big kahuna. This is the Jubilee. This is it. The Disney board results will happen on Wednesday. But I'm here to tell you, though Disney is acting like Nelson Peltz is winning, whatever happens, it's not over. If he's on the board, he's going to want more board seats the next year.
Not even close.
If he's not on the board, you can count on Tryon aiming for 4. And as we've said before, Bob Iger has blown all the gas in the tank. Folks, here's the schedule you do not need to miss next week. Hey, folks, Wednesday, April 3rd is the Disney shareholders meeting where we find out if Nelson Peltz has a seat on the board or if the proxy war continues on. Coverage begins at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Culture Casino. Moving right over to the Pro Channel, a special edition of the Pro Show, 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern, and then we go to Valiant Renegade for live coverage, 1 p.m. Eastern until who knows when. It is the big day for Disney. All right, folks, we are going to send you over to Midnight's Edge After Dark with Tom Connors, the Godzilla of YouTube personalities. Let him know that it was a pro raid. Let him know that we sent you, folks. When it comes to the response that will be coming from Ron Coleman and from Dylan Law Partners, I can't tell you when. I can't tell you how. I can only tell you it's going to come with a giant kapow. So stay tuned if you're not.
Maybe not today and maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
Always keep your enemies guessing.
Folks, it cannot be said any better than that. And for those who might be of that sort watching, just remember, this is how you end with positivity. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say, as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun. And with that, we are back live. Spencer, quit dancing. We're back because guess what, Spencer?
What happened,
Guess what? Hold on. Let's get everything back the way it's supposed to be.
Uh-oh.
We have super chats that came in at the last minute. We've got to read them.
The greatest crowd we could ever ask for.
It's the greatest, what would you call it? The greatest shift in the world. Here we go. From Other Theory for $5. We do not miss a super chat, folks. Never leave one behind. Every show is A+ Pro. You and company are a national treasure. Your guests included. Always the best.
There's a Nick Cage joke in here somewhere, but I'm not going to make it. So about national treasures.
Pro, do you have the Constitution?
Oh, we've got the Constitution. We've got it. All right, Nolan Thunder, 5. Let me see if I can get a few hours break from work. Oh, you're going to need a few hours, don't you? Yeah, you're going to. I'll get back to you ASAP, my friend. You rock, and I am blessed to work with you all. Power to the TPP. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Nolan. We hope
Power
you
to the
can be
TPP.
there
I like that.
as a VIP. Changer of ways, beep to the bop to the boop for 20. To the abused, God dries all tears. Happy Easter and Passover. Changer of ways.
Yeah, happy Easter.
You made it worthy to come back and read these. Thank you for something so good and uplifting. Folks, if you got kiddos, paint some eggs, hide them in the grasses, and have some fun out there. And one more time, just because
Nita,
we appreciate it so much. Nita, you're the greatest.
Oh.
You know what, folks? We'll end it a different way than usual because we started to end it one way, and, well, you interrupted us with goodness. So how about this? I'll remove us all. Folks, see you on.
I thought that chicken tacos were better than the rest.
Are you ready for perfect, authentic Mexican cooking just like your mama used to make? Come on down to Mexican Iron Man's Rabbit Chicken Tacos and Lawn Care Services, where not only do you get the freshest in Mexican cuisine, but you also get a fresh cut lawn. And don't forget to check out our second location, wherever the police have not yet run the van away from.
Mexican Iron Man, rabbit chicken tacos, lawn care services.
And if you think the cilantro tastes very fresh, it's no accidente, amigo.
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!